Super Rugby round 16, folks. We now have our top 6, the order of which is set. The Blues got another hiding. The Hurricanes got a hiding as well, but it was their B team against the Crusaders. Moana finished their run with a win, so we get to rock their jersey one more time, the final time. And you got to wonder what could have been for the Force. They finished just outside the playoffs in 7th with the same win-loss record as the Brumbies, who finished 6th, but still a few points off the pace. We will go through the results from the weekend. How does the table finish? And the upcoming playoff matches. Crusaders started us off again down at that lovely stadium in Christchurch against the Hurricanes, and they flogged them 47 points to 14. It's a pretty good win from the Crusaders against like a Hurricanes team which changed like 13 guys. So you're not going to be reading too much into it, but in terms of just building that momentum, it can't be a bad thing for the Crusaders. Were they perfect? No. Did both sides drop a ton of ball? Yes. Did Severis have a bit of a blinder? Yes. Did he kick a sideline conversion to cap things off? That was pretty magnificent. I mean, the only thing you would say is, like, they did concede 2 tries, the Crusaders, from the only 2 times the Hurricanes got into their 22. So that's perhaps one thing that they would like to tighten up on. I mean, my Blues, we'll get to that in a second, about letting teams score when they get down your end. Like, the Crusaders were largely able to keep them at arm's length, but when the Hurricanes did get there, they got tries through shields and Rakete stones. But yeah, the only thing you worry about a little bit is just a little bit of that momentum comes off the Hurricanes with that loss, and the Crusaders get to build a little bit of momentum going into the playoffs. But the Hurricanes will change their team back to their A team. They'll be back at home. And you get the feeling the Hurricanes train will get back at chugging in not too long. But the Crusaders win put them in 3rd. And with the Blues not winning, they get to keep 3rd. So they'll host a playoff match next week. The Reds played the Drua with their playoff spot secured already. But they had a chance to leapfrog the Brumbies with a win. They did it, although it was a bit of a tit-for-tat game. The Reds scored 2nd after Mate'alea got a first try, but they took a decent enough lead, the Reds. They were up, like 21-5? And then the Drua replied with 3 tries of their own. Mate'alea ended up getting a hat-trick in this game. The Drua were up 24-21 in the second half early on, but 24 was their final points total. And then the Reds just went to town with 4 more tries to make this one a bit of a blowout. The Drua had the possession, the Drua had the territory, but goodness me, if the Reds don't have one of the best turnover merchants in the game. I've been talking about it for a while, but we'll talk about it again. Fraser bloody McRae. Like, the Reds had 12 turnovers, 1 in the game, which is a pretty good number in itself. Like most teams, maybe 4 or 5. So to get 12 is pretty incredible. But McRae alone had 4. The guy is a beast over the ball, and he was their top tackler with 18. In the Reds playoff match, they are going to need somebody to win some turnover ball and make some tackles, and what better guy than Fraser McRae. The Drua tackle percentage is once again just too low. 76% is just not going to get it done. So, entertaining match, tit for tat. Both sides led for a while, but with that result, the Reds leapfrogged the Brumbies, and with the Brumbies' shock loss, likewise, kind of like the Crusaders' result, the Reds get to keep their spot into 5th. We talked to the Brumbies on Saturday. They lost to Moana Pasifika. Moana Pacifica's last game. I wouldn't say I picked this, but if you thought there's a game, like on Super Bowl, I picked the Brumbies, of course. But in the back of your mind, you thought if there's a game for Moana to get up, I mean, these guys are literally going to be out of a job. Like, New Zealand Rugby's agreed to pay them to the end of July, but these guys are out of a job. If you want to get yourself in the shop window for other clubs, this is a chance to fly the flag for Moana one last time. Personally, as I said, maybe get yourself a new job, a new contract with a different team. This was a game to get it done, and they got it done. 21 points to 19. Patrick Pellegrini is surely going to pick up a club. Semesi Tuputailoa is definitely going to be picked up. Like, there's going to be no problem for the likes of these guys. They were both pretty bloody impressive. I mean, the Brumbies scored early on. They were up by 14-0 really early in this game. Tom Wright got one, and it was looking pretty hunky-dory from a Brumbies perspective, but 2 for Pellegrini made it 14 points apiece at halftime. Reimer put the Brumbies back in front, but despite the double yellow card being a red card for the Moana boys, 72nd minute, Matavao put them level, and then the conversion to go in front. I don't feel like the Brumbies did well at the end of the game, obviously because they lost. But like, there was a period where they were down. They were either in or just outside the Moana 22. It's 15 against 14. There's limited time left on the clock. You got an extra man. And they kicked it, and it was a nothing kick. I mean, I know we often yell at the TV. There was like a famous ad on TV in New Zealand years ago about rugby fans just being like, don't kick it, pass it, don't pass it, kick it, or whatever. Run it. My dad would always scream at the TV, but that's one of those times, for God's sake, don't kick it there. Don't kick it there. You've got no time left. You've got a man advantage. Just keep going through the phases. The space will turn up somewhere if you got the man advantage, surely. But no, Brumbies lineup was poor. Their restart was poor. The Brumbies, just generally in the second half of this season, have been poor. They finish 6th. The bottom qualifying team, and they, as I said, only kind of just scraped in. They do not have any form about them, which is going to be interesting because they're going to play the Hurricanes. But yeah, Semesi Tuputailoa, 8 defenders beaten. Moana had 12 line breaks to the Brumbies 5. I think they're deserved winners. So what a way to go out for them. Brumbies have now lost to the Drua and Moana, like the two bottom teams at home this season. They were flying high at the start of the season. Second half of the season's been a dog's breakfast for them. Don't mean to be hard on you, Brumbies, but geez, you guys have not been, you've not been good. You don't mean me to tell you, but yeah. Speaking of not good, likewise my Blues. 3rd week in a row we've got a hiding. We did a full match review of this one, fresh after the fact last night. So I don't want to talk about this match too much. I've already done it for like 10 minutes last night. The Blues, believe it or not, despite getting beaten 59-34, were relatively in control of the first 20 minutes. We were doing all right. The game was close. It was a game for a while, but the second half is an absolute romp home for the Chiefs. They flogged the Blues. And the most concerning thing is, from a Blues perspective, not the fact that apart from the fact that we've been beaten 3 times by the top 3 sides by comfortable margins in the final 3 games of the season. Like, we've looked way off the pace. But we had 15 22 entries and scored 5 tries. So 1 in 3 22 entries leading to a try. I feel like that's terrible. You'd like it to be a little bit higher. But the Chiefs entered the Blues 22 11 times and scored 9 tries. That's flipping incredible. Or, from a Blues perspective, god-awful. You need where's the desperation? Where is that Fraser McCright turnover, you know? We just weren't getting them. The Chiefs would get down our end and inevitably score. 9 times out of 11, literally. So, yep, Chiefs had their own kind of momentum to regather after their loss last week, and they did it. They did it absolutely ahead of the finals. And then the final game, the Force up against the Waratahs. The Force kind of did this the hard way. I'm pleased for them, but also disappointed they didn't make the playoffs. Because the Force, unlike the Brumbies, the Force actually finished the season fairly well. The Force just needed 1 or 2 results to go their way. Maybe a few more bonus points earlier in the season. I know, you know, woulda, coulda, shoulda, but I'm still disappointed for them. Like, they lost so narrowly over Fiji. They get that win, they're in the playoffs. Because they would have been level on points with the Brumbies, and they would have had more wins than the Brumbies did. Or if the Brumbies had not pulled off that kind of last-minute winner against the Blues, you know, Force would be there. But the Brumbies are there, but the Force still finished the season with a win over the Tars, so they can savour that at least. 31 points to 25. Tit-for-tat game. The Waratahs were up 20 points to 7 at one point. Dylan Peach bagged a couple. He's had a cracking end to the season for the Force, as old Dylan Peach. Force scored either side of half-time, took a lead. Waratahs went back in front, but Tizano, he got 2 in this game as well, but he gets the last one in the 72nd minute. It is the late winner for them. So chuff for them. But as I said, it just would have been really nice to see them finally crack their playoffs drought. Tackled at 90%, which I love about the Force. Defensively, very solid compared to the Brumbies, compared to the Waratahs, who were in the kind of low 80s. Suoli had a couple of big hits in this game, which is maybe pleasing. Ahead of Wallabies action. Nick Champion de Krebney, part of that big defensive effort from the effort from the Force with 20. So how does the table finish? The Hurricanes, Chiefs, and Crusaders, first, second, third. There's 10 points between second and third. And the Hurricanes are even further ahead. But the Crusaders have got the late season form with that new stadium of theirs. The Blues 4th, Reds 5th, and Brumbies 6th. The Reds only finished a point behind the Blues in the end, whereas the Blues were like, cruising in the top 3 for such a long period, poor into the season. And then the Force, 4 points behind the Brumbies, both with 7 wins, 7 losses. So like I said, the Force just didn't get the bonus points and maybe just needed that resulto from Fiji, which didn't quite go their way. Waratahs 8th, Highlanders, who were on the bye, 9th, Drua 10th, and then Moana still finished bottom, but they did get a win to bookend the season with wins, win in the first round and win in the last. Hurricanes will take on the Brumbies and be massive favourites as long as the Hurricanes don't have that kind of monkey on the back in terms of like their playoffs jitters. They've been far and away the best team, so they should mop the floor with the Brumbies. The Brumbies are in awful form, but if ever there was a kind of time for a David and Goliath moment, maybe that's the one. Remember, the Hurricanes will have an extra life no matter what. The Hurricanes can't go out if they lose because of the way the playoff structure works. There's only 6 teams, and we need to have 4 left, so the top loser will have a second life. So the Hurricanes are guaranteed to go through no matter what happens in their match. Chiefs will take on the Reds, which has been a pretty tasty matchup in recent years, I feel. And then the Blues will head to the graveyard, which is Christchurch, for playoff rugby. The Crusaders do not lose home playoff games. So I am not particularly optimistic about that one. But hey, we made the playoffs. You guys let me know your thoughts on how the round went. How do you reckon the playoffs go? Do you see the 3 home teams winning in a canter? Or can you see an upset somewhere? You guys let me know. Take care. Subscribe. Thank you for being here. Talk to you guys again soon. See you later.